They will line them up now coming through turn number 9. Some stragglers so far. They need to get themselves back up front. Parker Thompson says, let's go. They're going to line up coming out through turn number 10 over to 11. Pro Mazda, second race of the doubleheader set to go here in Toronto. Rinus VeeKay on the front row alongside David Malukas, getting ready to punch off. Green, green, green. Here they come down into turn number 1. Parker Thompson, remember, starting from the tail of the field. He's going to try to stay out of any kind of wrecks here. Does not want to get involved at all.
Was that David Malukas that went off?
Potentially a driver off, as he said, but Rinus VeeKay able to come out cleanly as your leader, first time down the back straightaway. Here they come, all the way down Lakeshore Boulevard to turn number 3, the site of the chaos yesterday. Can they get through cleanly this time? No need to block to the inside, still 3 wide further back. It's a very narrow part of the racetrack. The Pelfrey cars are side by side through the apex, clean thus far. Parker Thompson gets 1 spot, slides nicely into position. Rinus VeeKay looking to pull away. McGinnis, I believe, able to get by David Malukas. Robert McGinnis for Juncos Racing goes to P2. Good start here for McGinnis.
We'll keep our eyes on Parker Thompson, but Rinus VeeKay has checked out. Indeed, there's David Malukas as McGinnis gets around.
For Parker Thompson, he's just got to be smart here now. We would say odds are we'll have a yellow flag sooner or later one time through. We may go green to checker, but he'll need that yellow to back up the field. For him, though, he's got to be smart. Big, expensive crash yesterday. He's going to want to just be clean here today. Parker Thompson, first lap up into the 10th position. That's exactly what he wanted to do. A couple of clean passes. Now he can go to work, getting himself working forward.
The car we saw going off at turn 1 was Harrison Scott. Harrison Scott looked up and saw a car. It was Harrison Scott who's off. So after yesterday's incident, he was really pushing and just locked him up going into turn 1 and went into the runoff.
Potential contact for second. Oh, there's a driver overcooking. That's Nikita Listoshkin. He overcooks it going in to turn number 3. He's able to continue, but the almost contact was again between McGinnis and David Malukas. They are racing very aggressively. Remember, Malukas got into Parker Thompson yesterday on the restart. He got some lost a couple of points for unsportsmanlike driving. He's going to watch himself here right now because you know race officials will be all over David Malukas right now, making sure he races clean.
Rinus VeeKay starting to check out that battle really for third. David Malukas and Oliver Askew. Here the field coming out of turn number 11. McGinnis back end stepping out. There's Malukas and Askew. But for Harrison Scott, for that team to do all that work and for him to throw that away so early in the race in turn number 1.
Well, you wonder what happened. He didn't come back on, Michael. We haven't seen any yellows. I don't know if he's off the racetrack or not. If we can see a replay of the start, it'd be awesome. But at this point, what could have happened was a mechanical, because when you work like that, you work all night long to put a car back together after that kind of damage. It takes just one wire, just one clip, one thing that needs to be exactly right, and it's not connected. You lose power, whatever it may be. That's, of course, the issue. Now, back onto the racetrack, what a battle. Robert McGinnis, remember, was able to get by David Malukas, but he has stacked them up behind him in a big way. Parker Thompson now running in 9th. He's kind of at the very tail end of that, looking to try to close up on Raul Guzman now. But then again, it's McGinnis, Malukas, Askew, Cunha, Robb, Gutierrez, Guzman, and Thompson all essentially running together. We're going to go 2 wide through turn number 9. These guys are laying it down here through 9, 10, and 11. I believe Guzman gets by Gutierrez. Oh, here's a huge wreck.
Big contact.
Huge wreck up front. Big wreck for, that's Guzman. Raul Guzman. That car is in half here at the start-finish line. He is right in front of us here. Unbelievable. Right in front of us here in the booth. Raul Guzman. Contact. They came out of turn 11, Michael. That was a part of this racetrack we knew that was tough. I just said that they were trying to go 2 wide coming through turns 9 and 10. It's so hard here. The cars are right on the absolute ragged edge as it is. Guzman's still on the car at this point. That thing is broken in half right at the engine and the gearbox. Raul moving his head around nicely. Here comes the AMR safety team. They'll get to him very quickly. Again, the AMR safety team on the scene to check out what's going on here. The crew already here with Raul Guzman. We're waiting for the steering wheel to come up, and that's what we wanted to see. The steering wheel off. Guzman trying to unbuckle right now. Man, a collective breath being let out by everyone here trackside. Of course, everybody is part of RP Motorsports. He's out of the car, ladies and gentlemen, indeed. A round of applause here, Michael Young, for Raul Guzman. Kind of assessing the damage. Got a little bit of a limp there. Not surprising when you hit that hard. I'm trying to figure out who else was involved. Parker Thompson was able to get through. It's unbelievable. He's able to get through to 7th.
It was right around the Chris Wright, Nikita Listowski. It was where Guzman was running.
He was further up.
That's right, you're right.
He was in front of Parker Thompson. And he was trying to close up. I want to say that potentially he just probably lost it. If you look at the contact of that car, we can see the clutch. That's how far this car is broken across in front of us. It has split it right at the gearbox and the engine.
It happened really early at the exit of turn number 11. There's a Toronto Star banner there, and usually we see those bits of contact happen a little later in that turn, the back end stepping out and cracking the back of that car in half.
Michael, look at both the right front and the right rear rather. Both of those rims, he has hit it so hard that it's kind of peeled metal off and shaved the metal off the side of those tires. So you got to expect he just came out of there, probably hammered the right rear, shot back over, and then of course the force is continuing in the circular motion as he comes onto the front straight. Look how far he rolled down here in terms of that thing spinning all the way down towards right in front of us here up in the suites in our PA booth. Anytime you see an incident like this, of course, the AMR safety team being on the site so quickly, making sure he's fine. Then you see the steering wheel come out, the driver start to unbuckle. That's when everybody can kind of take that deep breath, because that was a pretty hard hit coming out of turn number 11. And
he was favoring that right leg when he got out, and obviously that hard contact with the right side of that car would make perfect sense, but crazy amount of damage to the rear of that machine. Cracked that car in half. It has been a long time since I've seen that type of damage on a car on a street circuit, to the extent that that car is broken in half.
Just exactly the perfect angle when he hit there hard. The car probably stepping out on him a little bit, hammered the right rear, brought the right front back around. Raul was able to walk again into the AMR IndyCar response vehicle. They'll take him to IndyCar Medical to make sure everything's fine. But again, to watch him walk, even favoring that right leg, the bit of a limp, that is, of course, good news for everybody either here trackside or watching on any of the outlets, including roadtoindy.tv. Let's reset where we are here, Michael, because this is key. Rinus VeeKay had a pretty solid lead at that point. That evaporates pretty quickly. Robert McGinnis ends up in second. David Malukas in the third spot. Stingray Robb in fourth. Oliver Askew in fifth. Carlos Cunha now in sixth. Parker Thompson up into seventh position. Nikita Listowski runs in eighth. Chris Wright in ninth. Antonio Saravalli in 10th. Charles Finelli 11th. Drivers out of the race thus far. Andres Gutierrez not shown actually out of the race yet. Of course, Guzman and Scott, those are the two RP Motorsport Racing entries. Yesterday was a rough one for Exclusive Autosport. They finished at the tail of the field after incidents. This one, a very, very tough one for Raul Guzman and Harrison Scott in RP Motorsports Racing. That's for a team that worked all night last night to get Harrison Scott back on the racetrack for whatever happened on the opening lap. That is a disappointment for sure.
All we saw on Harrison Scott, the start of that race, was the brake smoke as he locked him up. He was on the outside of row number 2, and as the rest of the field made that turn into turn number 1, he ran into the runoff area underneath the Prince's Gate.
And you wonder about that. He didn't have a chance to get onto the racetrack for even one lap to feel the car after that incident. They put it back together. We already did see the one time the replay of that incident yesterday, and after the initial impact, when he was going up and over Stingray Robb in turn 3, when he eventually did barrel roll the car, all 4 corners were already hanging off the thing. That's significant work for the team. They had to totally rebuild the car from the tub up. So they're hanging new wheels, right front, left front, all the way around. They're putting new wheels on, and you don't get a chance to test the braking. And you said maybe when he was coming in here, he locked the brakes up.
It locked. I mean, he went a good 300 yards or 100 yards at least locked up.
And a driver of Harrison's experience, you have to expect that he felt that car and said, I can't continue. Yeah. If indeed there's no damage to the car, no electrical damage, it was just the car itself, he would know. Now, whether or not he's able to bring it back around to pit lane now, I don't know. Being 5 laps down, 5 laps down, I don't think he's going to bother.
So at the point of contact for Raul Guzman, the car slid about 150 yards, began to spew fluid all over the racetrack. Have the speedy dry, and we're working about a 100-yard patch now of fluid. AMR safety crew and track officials now trying to get the back of that car, as again that engine snapped clean from the back end of the Guzman racing machine. Flatbed here trying to figure out how they're going to strap that car on and get it to load onto the flatbed so we can continue this race. VK McGinnis, David Malukas, and Stingray Robb, they are your top four. Oliver Askew running P5, then Carlos Cunha. Parker Thompson coming from dead last, currently running in the 7th position. Nikita Listoshkin 8th, Chris Wright, Antonio Saravalli 10th, involved in that first lap incident yesterday. Charles Finelli 11th. Andres Gutierrez out of this event. So is Raul Guzman, the reason for this caution. Harrison Scott with the incident on the opening lap in turn number 1, locking up the brakes, running under the Princess Gate. He is being scored as finished for the day.
So, Michael, if we look at the scoreboard for the wall versus cars, I think we're at 4-0.
Yeah, the walls are winning.
The wall is winning 4-0. It always does, but yeah, we've had a number of drivers that have been into that wall coming out of turn 11. It's almost an off-camber corner as well. Remember, these are city streets any weekend but this one here in Toronto. So when they come through turn 9, they're in the right hand, or 10 rather, they're totally off-camber to the right or the left. They come back over to that left-hander. They go off-camber to the right. The car just wants to come around on that off-camber corner. It wants to swap ends. The rear end wants to come back to the right. And if you're not very careful, if you've not set up perfectly, and if you're not really smooth with your throttle input, rolling on the power, it'll power slide out. You'll get that oversteer on power. All it takes is a little bit, you're into the wall. We see what happened to Raul Guzman. Now, Michael, the issue here, this isn't an easy cleanup. You know, they got the speedy dry out. They're cleaning up all the oil that came out from the engine and the gearbox area. But this thing's split in half, so they're essentially having to tie the whole thing together. They're looping around the rear suspension. They've got it through the roll hoop, which we use to normally just balance the car on just the one hook. But with this car split in half as it is, the AMR safety crew having to rely on some of the experience that they've had from years past, knowing how to essentially get this thing up. You know what? We always talk about the fact that you and I really aren't math majors. We don't do the numbers very well. And people wonder, you know, I'm not going to use geometry. When would I ever use algebra?
You're going to need it right now.
Probably right here.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we triangulate this?
We've got 4 of the AMR safety crew down there, and they're all discussing, I think, how best to get this lifted off the track. And those 4 minds far more powerful than Rob Howden and ours.
Yes, no doubt about that. We still have 30 minutes to go here. A long way left in this race for the drivers in this Pro Mazda Championship, and gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about the championship battle in itself. Parker Thompson has been really good this year. He's won a number of races. He was able to score wins at number 1. He was able to score the Freedom 90 win on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. Impressive run for him. He was able to win at Barber Motorsports Park. He scored a victory on the road course of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well. Road America, no wins, but he was able to work his way up and actually late in the race passed the 2 drivers who were closest to him in the championship battle, Rinus VeeKay and Carlos Cunha. Comes into this weekend, a race that he absolutely loves, won both events here last year in the USF 2000 category, so comes in as a favorite, of course. Things haven't gone the way that Parker Thompson has wanted to. For him, a very expensive incident yesterday for Parker. Ended up still with an 8th place finish, but lost 17 points to Rinus VeeKay, who is certainly on his game here this weekend. The Jumbo Supermarket sponsored number 2 for Juncos Racing. For Parker Thompson right now, Michael, this is really all about trying to minimize the damage. What kind of a result can he get here to minimize the fact that Rinus VeeKay is grabbing maximum points? Right now, looking to grab maximum points in both races.
Obviously looking at a timed event, the diaper coming out to keep any more fluid coming off of the number 27 of Raul Guzman so early at the exit of that turn was that contact. I think, Rob, you hit the nail on the head. He got back into that throttle, and the back end of that had to violently step out to cause that type of damage. But if you see where we had the other incident earlier in the race weekend, that more of the traditional place where drivers will hit further out at the exit of turn number 11, that was extremely early in the exit of that turn.
The other one's more of a slide where the drivers were kind of getting out there a little too wide, actually really rolling the corner and getting where they wanted to be, but just overstepping. To hit that early, he was probably on the throttle, got that power oversteer. The car came around really quickly, hammered the right rear, slammed it back into the front. I'm surprised. I'm wondering whether or not the contact broke the car in half or somebody else hit him, but I think more it was really just the contact with the concrete.
When we looked up, I picked it up about 50 yards before he came to a rest.
About a second after the sonic boom.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, it was one of those sickening thuds that when you hear it, it's just something bad had just happened, but that car already snapped in half. But give the back end of that field a lot of credit. They did a lot of dodging because that was a massive hit. And now will be interesting once we get Guzman's car removed from the race surface. We still have that speedy dry, and obviously we're going to try to sweep most of that off, but will there be any potential for the drivers coming out of turn number 11 that first time just accidentally getting into something a little extra fluid on the track there and maybe cause the car to want to step out a little bit?
It's a tough part of the racetrack for sure. You'd want to probably come through not at 100%. Maybe you back it off to 90%. You get a feel for the grip level because, yeah, you're right. It's a little dusty down here. Luckily, where most of the speedy dry is, they've already got the car straight. They're already back to power. It's not like it's where they're rolling the corner. Ironically, where Raul Guzman came to a stop down here in front of us is right at one of the areas where the NASCAR Pinty teams bring their cars out and their crew guys out. So at this point, they're able to get the car of Guzman quickly behind the wall and drop it down. They'll figure out a way to bring it back whenever they possibly can. But at this point, the AMR safety team, and this is why you got to give them so much props. They're not just firefighters and policemen who, work at the racetrack on their weekends off because they love motorsports and they love helping. They're out here on their hands and knees getting that speedy dry worked into the track, worked into the oil that's been dropped.
And I think the one thing that we always have to bring attention to is the sense of urgency. Obviously, they want to get this race back to green as quickly as possible. So they're down there rubbing that speedy dry in, trying to get it to pick up any remaining fluid left on the racing surface. They're packing everything up. We'll get the sweepers out, try to sweep off any of that remaining speedy dry. And once they get that swept up, we should be another lap or two, and then we'll go green again. But that said, Rob, that is a lot of speedy dry, and they'll go again across it one more time. But Rinus VK, Robert McGinnis, David Malukas, Stingray Robb, even Oliver Askew had just, as you said, maybe 90% through that first time by. And again, it's already past the corner, and you're going straight again. But you burp that throttle ever so slightly and try to mash it again. The back end might want to break loose.
Drivers will get a chance to come and have a look at it here. We're not going back to green yet. 10 laps down, 25 laps still to go, 27 minutes still to come.
So we'll be a timed race.
Oh, no, looks like we're going back to green right now. Here they come. Drivers roll all the way down here.
Yellow.
Still yellow.
I don't think they anticipated them to go green there. Obviously, the pace car had pulled off, but we went back to caution as quickly as we thought we were going to go green. So the caution remained out. We will keep an eye to see if the Mazda pace car comes out. If not, the assumption then would be that Rinus VK will pack the field back up. We'll try it again, this time coming out of turn number 11.
I wanted to make sure that the cleanup crew was already off the racetrack. They were kind of working their way slowly down into Princess Gates and to get through there.
And that might have been the issue.
I think so. So again, right quickly back to yellow. The drivers, of course, thought they were going green. The Mazda pace car ducked off into pit lane, caught us off guard as well. It puts the 11th lap in the books. Gives us 14 laps still to go, right? No, 24 laps, Rob. Do the math.
So we'll say this is a timed race. We have 18 minutes remaining in this event.
Not 26 minutes.
26. I'm sorry. Yep, you're right.
More time than that.
So we'll be really close.
I agree. I think we're with about 24 to go.
Now we're timed.
Yeah, I think it'll be a timed race pretty much. There's no way we're going to get it. Even with the fast as these cars are going now, we're not going to be able to get it in. So it will be a timed race, as Michael said. 25 minutes, 44 seconds to go. They're going to stack them back up, coming out of turn number 7.
What a wild weekend this has been.
We had talked about this earlier when I was before I got onto the PA here, that this is just one of those races when you combine the fact that it's championship, we're thinking about that battle, and we're coming to Toronto, which has got so many perils around every corner. Rinus VeeKay is going to fire him up once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go back racing here with about 25 minutes to go. Onto the front straightaway. Green, green, green. Away we go. Back down into turn number 1. They'll fan very wide. Drivers trying to make early moves here. Parker Thompson knows a great opportunity for him to get another couple of spots as well. But Rinus VeeKay, who has been so good here this weekend, leads out of turn 2. David Malukas, though, getting very aggressive. Malukas with a great run. He's going to try to get by Robert McGinnis coming down into turn number 3. Big lead, Michael, for VeeKay. Here comes Malukas around the outside, and indeed Parker Thompson to the outside of Carlos Cunha.
2 wide through turn number 5, McGinnis and Malukas.
Parker Thompson to the inside there. He may be up into the 4th or 5th position. Good start. Could be 6th then. They're 2 wide coming through turn number 6. Michael, opening lap after a restart like this. Always a time to get the pass done. They are running 2 by 2 down into turn number 8.
Boy, Stingray Robb, Oliver Askew, great little battle there. Further back in the field, well, back up to the front. VeeKay is checked out. Then it's Robert McGinnis, and then David Malukas now battling with Stingray Robb.
Thompson dropping back another spot, I think, but we'll see them as they come across start-finish. Front 3 drivers pretty much gapped out. Indeed, Parker Thompson settling in front of Nikita Listoshkin. But Thompson now into the 7th position.
Saw that red car. That was Oliver Askew around Stingray Robb, so a nice pass for Oliver.
Indeed. Oliver Askew up to the 4th position, looking for a kind of a turnaround weekend this time up here into Toronto. Was good here last year. Had a couple of issues, but still went on to win the USF 2000 championship. That's why he's running that Soul Red Mazda scholarship car for Cape Motorsports, your reigning USF 2000 champion. Good move to 4th position for Oliver. You can see the Mazda on the side of that car. He's P4 now. We'll start looking at splits as the driver's settling in. Does anybody have anything for VeeKay? I'm not sure. He has just been so good here this weekend.
Carlos Cunha, now the driver we're keeping an eye on. He is trying to eye that 5th position away from Stingray Robb. Was within a car length, now 2 car lengths back. So the field settling in again. It's VeeKay, McGinnis, Malukas. Askew up to 4th around Stingray Robb. Cunha is 6, Parker Thompson 7, Listoshkin, Wright, Saravalli, and Pinelli, the 11 remaining cars.
Running down the front straightaway now. Everybody kind of just getting settled in. Now we got to think about the length of this race. 22 minutes still to go. Drivers would normally have to worry, I think, a little more about tire conservation, having to push hard for a full 25-lap race at full song. But at this point, a little less track time for the drivers here in Pro Mazda. They're all kind of grooving in. VeeKay leads. McGinnis 2nd. Malukas 3rd. Askew in the 4th spot. Stingray Robb in 5th. Carlos Cunha in 6th. Parker Thompson now runs in 7th. Nikita Listoshkin in 8th. Chris Wright 9th. And Antonio Saravalli rounding out your top 10.
Boy, Malukas all over the rear wing of Robert McGinnis. Wants that 2nd position as they battle through turn number 6.
Like this fight. That's for that 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Look how close they are. They have rolled right up on there. Oliver Askew and Stingray Robb have closed up as well. Carlos Cunha following it. I wonder if Parker Thompson not wanting to get involved in this incident right now because they're driving
2nd to 6 or nose to tail.
Yeah, Parker Thompson may be biding his time back there in 7th. Just trying to get out of this weekend cleanly. Had a very expensive wreck yesterday. Stingray Robb going to run down the inside here in that yellow Team Pelfrey car. He'll move back up into the middle. It's Carlos Cunha trying to come to the outside of him. Cunha and Stingray Robb. Again, some pretty chaotic racing here from about 4th, actually 3rd back, but even 2nd involved as well, because we were thinking about watching a battle here between Malukas and McGinnis. They'll go side by side again into turn number 3. Oliver Askew, there's contact there. Someone overcooked it going into turn number 3. That might have been between Parker Thompson and Stingray Robb. I think Stingray losing another spot. Listoshkin tried to grab it as well from him. I think that was Parker Thompson taking that deep braking move, overtaking, grabbing a hold of the apex and running it a little further into the corner to make sure that Robb couldn't run him up the hill. Indeed, Listoshkin by as well, so count Stingray Robb back into, I believe, the 8th position.
Rinus VeeKay, your leader, 4-second advantage. That's the sound of VeeKay. Now that battle for second with McGinnis and Malukas. That has settled down. Actually, Oliver Askew getting around.
That's a big gap between first and second. 5.4 seconds, the advantage for Rinus VeeKay, who has been absolutely dominant here this weekend on the streets of Toronto. He knew coming in that he needed to have a big weekend to fight his way back into the championship, and he has done exactly that.
Well, that was VeeKay. A costly mistake by Stingray Robb. Boy, running up there in the top 5 and to fall back like that.
I'm not sure how much really of a mistake it was. I wonder if we can see a replay of that. I'd like to see what happened with that particular pass. That was down into turn number 3 just about a lap and a half ago. Stingray Robb getting overtaken. I'm not sure if it was even Carlos Cunha who might have started that, and then Parker Thompson followed him through. Nonetheless, Robb down into the 8th position. They'll work their way now out of turn number 7, back over to turn 8. Great lineup of drivers in Pro Mazda. They're so evenly matched, Michael.
Yeah, nice job by Oliver Askew getting around David Malukas. So Askew now hoping to get a podium. Can he move up to that 2nd position? There's Robert McGinnis. There's Oliver Askew. Malukas right there. Then Carlos Cunha. Then back to Parker Thompson and Nikita Listoshkin.
Maybe an issue for Parker Thompson here now. He has fallen back quite a bit. In fact, he is into the clutches. There's an issue for Parker Thompson. Thompson may be done. Parker Thompson was slower coming up the front straightaway. And it looked to me like Nikita Listoshkin is closed. He had lost about a full second on the leaders. Thompson, I wonder if he pulled off. Let's see if Thompson comes back through here. What a weekend for Parker, the young Canadian who wanted to have a good one. Maybe an issue for Parker here. Yeah, indeed, he's lost another spot. Wow. I want to know if contact between he and Stingray Robb may have hurt something on the car. He has now dropped back to, I believe, the 8th position. So Parker Thompson this weekend just going in the absolute wrong direction for the young Canadian from Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. A horrible wreck yesterday. Damage, more internal damage is where the funding, where the expense came on the bill at the end of the weekend. But right now, potentially that contact with Stingray Robb may send him to pit lane.
And after sweeping the weekend here in Toronto last year, it just has been the exact opposite type of weekend this year.
See if Thompson's still on the racetrack coming out here. No, that's his teammate. Yep. He's into the pit lane.
Yeah, he's on pit lane.
Parker Thompson heading to pit lane in the number 90 machine. The point leader coming in. He'll still have the point lead heading to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course, but that really big gap that he had developed, that comfortable cushion, has all but evaporated here on the streets of Toronto.
You know, glancing up and seeing that incident as well, Parker was right there with Stingray Robb, and Stingray had fallen back as Parker went wide there into turn number 3. I do wonder if there might have been potential contact there.
It looked to me, when we saw it briefly, they got the camera quickly over to it, and all we saw was a couple drivers potentially together. You know, that these cars are designed to absorb that impact through the suspension. You want the suspension to bend. You don't want it to break the chassis or the tub itself. We'll see if Parker Thompson going to come back out onto the racetrack. Indeed, he will. Parker back out to turn some more laps. He probably just had to look over the car. Maybe he felt something. Parker back out in the, I believe, 11th position.
Yep.
11th for Parker, but a lap back. Parker's going to be hoping for some incidents from other drivers, and he's going to see if he can't reel in Charles Finelli for one more position. So Thompson back onto the racetrack, but it's a 6.4 second lead for Rinus VeeKay over his teammate, Robert McGinnis. McGinnis, though, getting chased big time. Here's a move to the inside again. That is
Malukas.
Oliver Askew to the inside.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's
Malukas.
That's into the inside of Malukas. That's a battle back and forth because Malukas had the spot last time by. Look at Carlos Cunha right there, ready to pick up the crumbs. That is the fight. I think
that was for second. I think Askew got around McGinnis.
We're going to watch this. They're closing up on Parker Thompson as well. I assume he'll let them by when he gets a chance to. In fact, yeah, he'll run off into the runoff area here in turn 8. We'll come back onto the racetrack to make sure they're able to come through cleanly. Indeed, he does. Parker just trying to stay on track. And
I think Askew got around McGinnis. I really do.
Boom, you are correct. What a day for Oliver Askew. He goes into second. He's by McGinnis, who now has to get worked over by David Malukas. Parker Thompson will let both Carlos Cunha and Nikita Listowski and Stingray rob by once again. Just going to try to knock out laps here for Parker Thompson to see if, wait it out, see if somebody else gets together and move up a couple of spots. Not a bad call strategy-wise in terms of the championship, but VK out to a great lead. Look at this battle further back. David Malukas trying to get by Robert McGinnis.
Yeah, Lucas went on the outside of McGinnis trying to get around. That allows Carlos Cunha to close that gap right there. That is the battle for third, fourth, and fifth.
McGinnis has got the elbows up. He's in full defense mode. Drove the inside into turn number 5, and that's going to rob him of exit speed. Here comes Malukas again to the outside. Trying the outside move in turn number 8. It's not going to work, but remember, McGinnis tucked to the inside. Look at Malukas. It's like an inside-out move. Here goes Cunha to the inside of Malukas. Cunha to the inside in turn number 9. How about 10? Can't quite get it done. Michael.
They're aware they're not allowed to pass, or they're not supposed to try to pass there. That is not a passing zone at all.
Third, fourth, and fifth. These guys are hanging it out. Carlos Cunha almost capitalizing on a move to the inside of turn number 9, starting that 9, 10, 11 complex. Thought better of it. You're on the outside of an off-camber corner. Not the easiest way to get around. He tucks in back behind, puts himself on the gearbox of Malukas, and we'll go back at it again.
It might have happened in the past. I don't think I've ever seen them go too wide through 9, 10, and 11.
Not
there.
10. There's no way.
Not 10.
No way. Off-camber corner, you're going to find yourself in the wall for sure. This is a great battle, though. McGinnis in the number 9, Malukas in the 79, and Cunha in the number 1. The two Juncos Racing drivers sandwiching David Malukas from BN Racing. And look at McGinnis is on such full defense mode. He's just driving the bottom of the racetrack. Malukas sooner or later. And remember, though, Malukas got into it with Parker Thompson. He ran afoul of the race director yesterday. Got a good talking to and actually lost some points in the championship. He's got to mind his P's and Q's right now, and that hamstrings him trying to go for a pass that he knows he's got to do it. It can't be low percentage.
Well, hats off to Oliver Askew. I think one of his best races of the year. Once he got around McGinnis, he checked out.
Most definitely. Oliver needed a race like this, and he has worked his way into second. He's got a 4.5-second lead over Robert McGinnis, who is stacking him up behind him. McGinnis continues to run that inside line. Well, you're going to wait for Malukas to throw it to the very bottom here pretty soon, as he's going to get aggressive. Carlos Cunha just waiting to pick up the pieces. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Parker Thompson still circulating, hoping for an issue with one of these other drivers to see if he can't grab at least 1 or 2 more spots after contact. We still have 12 minutes to go, I believe. 13 minutes remaining in this race.
Well, David Malukas, the meat in that Unco sandwich. McGinnis third, Malukas fourth, Cunha fifth. They exit turn number 11 in just a mere moment or so. And that gap, about a car length between each of the second, or I should say third, fourth, and fifth running machines.
Michael, we were scheduled for a 35-lap race. We're probably looking more at around, with 12 minutes to go, maybe around 30 to 32 laps, I think. Not going to quite get the full distance here. That's why we give it the time limit. But, man, we have a battle here for the final rung on the podium. Robert McGinnis is absolutely full defense mode, trying to hold off Malukas. They'll come down again into turn number 3. Malukas keeps trying to the outside position. Can't get it to stick, but again, all it takes, Michael, is him to push him one time where he cooks the tires. Oh, here we go. Malukas trying to the inside of turn number 5. Couldn't get it done.
Cunha might have got a run on him the inside of 6. No.
Not quite enough, but I'll tell you, David Malukas, he's being blocked crazy. It's some big defensive moves. It's legal. He's running a defensive line. He's not running an illegal line. He's not blocking, but he's defending aggressively with those low lines. When you defend and you run that inside line, you sacrifice the exit speed. You're not able to get the same big wide entry. You're not able to hold the same amount of speed. The problem for David Malukas is he's got to worry about Carlos Cunha. Because if Cunha's not there, he's going really wide and getting a big run through. If he goes wide to try to get that run, Cunha's going to put the number 1 to the bottom.
And I think that's what Cunha does. When they come down Thunder Alley into turn number 3, McGinnis will stay on the inside. Malukas will take that middle line, and Cunha swings way wide. I think maybe trying to slingshot, do that over-under. And now Malukas with a great run on McGinnis on the outside to 3.
Let's see what happens here now. Malukas gets a good run side by side. Not quite there again. Tuck it up to the inside. We may go too wide coming out. Indeed we are. Last year, David Malukas got into it with Alex Barron in USF 2000 in turn number 3, trying to be a little smarter here in race 2 for Pro Mazda. Again, this battle is allowing Nikita Listoshkin in the other Cape Motorsports car to come in. He runs in 6th and is slowly tracking them down a couple of tenths of a second a lap. Still 10.5 minutes remaining in Pro Mazda. 5.6 seconds to lead for Rinus VeeKay as Oliver Askew trying to chip away at it. I don't think he's got anything for him, but the bottom line is he's putting down pretty good laps.
I'm impressed, and you had said it, that McGuinness really running that defensive line, trying to keep Robert McGuinness, or David Malukas, I should say, from getting around, but there is Nikita Listoshkin. Hello, boys. I'll join this battle.
I like the fact that you guys are racing that hard. And remember, Nikita Listoshkin's got probably the same setup as Oliver Askew, who is right now the fastest driver on the racetrack. So that car, Nikita Listoshkin, starting to come in. He's turning times in the mid-108s. The guys in front of him, 109s, and they continue to block down into turn number 3. Listoshkin locks it up a little bit, but he is right there. Listoshkin ready to make this fun, and Stingray Rob's coming back as well.
Indeed, Stingray Rob falling back after what we assumed was contact with he and Parker Thompson. So it's McGuinness, then Malukas, Cunha, and now Nikita Listoshkin. Nikita Listoshkin joining that battle, although he about 4 car lengths back. Cunha's kind of settled back in a little bit. He was trying to battle with them, and he gets a great run coming out of turn number 8, does Carlos Cunha. Looks to the inside, now the outside. And now Nikita Listoshkin getting a good run out of turn number 10. It's going to be 4 cars near nose to tail out of turn 11.
Wow, what a race we're having here at the end of Pro Mazda. This is all the battle for the final step on the podium, Michael. That's the key here now. These guys are all scrapping it out to see who the last guy is. We already know, well, as it stands, that Rinus VeeKay and Oliver Askew holding pretty solidly on to 1st and 2nd. But 3rd place most definitely up for grabs. 4 drivers involved in the fight here now.
Here we go.
Still 8.5 to go.
This is going to be it right here, Rob. Keep an eye on this. Malukas had a great run out of turn number 2, and now Cunha trying to attack again. He gets that run, but you're right. Robert McGuinness does such a great job keeping that line. He's going to force Malukas to have to make a daring move if he's going to get around.
And again, as I said, you got to remember the fact that David Malukas was in the principal's office yesterday. He had to sit down with the race steward after the incident with Parker Thompson. He was on probation coming into this weekend. He has got to mind his P's and Q's. He cannot afford to make another bad move. Otherwise, he's going to find himself sat down for a race weekend. He has got to be smart here, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of David Malukas so far. He hasn't made a bad mistake. He hasn't made a low percentage pass. He's just tried to pressure Robert McGuinness into that mistake, and he can't give up. It'll take one lockup. You just missed the braking a little bit, and you're going to lose it. This time, he's trying to get another good run out of 1, where you come out of 1 cleanly, you're able to make that move into turn number 2.
I wonder if instead of him, Cunha got a nice run out of turn number 2 there. Yet, let's see where he fares.
Interesting when we wait for them to get down to 3. Looks like front wing damage for Stingray Rob, the right front wing of Stingray Rob. He's still coming closer, but that could have happened with Parker Thompson. I wonder if he actually cut a tire.
Cunha!
That's Carlos Cunha goes off. Carlos Cunha off. I think potentially Malukas off as well. One of the other drivers further back, Carlos Cunha. Carlos Cunha overcooked it. He puts it in the tires with 7 to go. That indeed, we'll watch them come back through here. What has happened? Will we go full course yellow? Carlos Cunha into the wall in the exit turn number 3.
He got that run out of turn number 2. He got around David Malukas and then went to battle his teammate into turn number 3 and just overcooked it. The car stepped out and he slammed into that tire barrier.
Well, let me tell you this. We're going to have to go full course yellow because there's a car on the racetrack. We're going to see it momentarily, full course yellow. When we do indeed go to full course yellow, this is good. This is going to be a pretty easy cleanup. They're going to probably just either refire Carlos and get him going or quick jack him back. Here it is, full course yellow being thrown now. 6.5 minutes remaining. Antonio Saravalli in the pit lane as well. So Saravalli out, rough one for Saravalli. we're watching guys fall down. Potentially some shift issues for Saravalli, I'm being told. So he's in pit lane. Again, it's been a good year for Antonio. He needs just to keep focused on what he's doing. A great young talent. Parker Thompson may get a couple of spots back here with the incident. Carlos Cunha, of course, trying to get things underway. Little less than 6 minutes to go. We got a scene set here. In comes Charles Finelli. He gets through. The Mazda pace car will pull out in front of Rinus VK. Parker Thompson right behind him. Parker might have needed to try to stay up front there, but you had to get off the throttle. Now, we're watching to see where everybody's going to shake down. This is going to give Oliver Askew an opportunity to go for the race win. Michael, he turned the fast lap of the race right before the yellow. This car of Askew starting to come together. And indeed was David Malukas that overcooked it into turn number 1 as well.
So I wonder if he just ran, because Stingray Robb got to the outside, and Malukas then kind of followed everybody in. When Cunha overcooks it into the turn and hits a tire barrier, I wonder if Malukas just got collected because he ran out of room.
It looked to me, well, if we get a chance to see the replay, we're going to see Carlos come into the corner and lose it. The car he's into the corner too hot. It starts to rotate, and he actually hit it. The tires flush, I believe, with the left side tires. It looked to me like Malukas just locked the brakes up coming in, want to potentially avoid what could have been a huge wreck, and he went straight off into the runoff, able to get the car spun back around and back out onto the racetrack. Didn't lose much in terms of time on the racetrack, but
he's down. I mean, he's not.
He's a couple laps down. So
I don't think he ever came back around.
Well,
I don't think he did.
There is more to this story, folks. David Malukas potentially out of this race as well. This is crazy right now. They're going to bring the car out to try to get Malukas, or rather Cunha. So more damage than they thought of the car for Carlos Cunha. I'll tell you, Oliver Askew just wringing his hands right now saying, give me a 2-lap dash. Give me a green-white checker. Give me a couple laps to see if I can go at Rinus VK, because he was chipping away at it. Oliver Askew in the number 3 for Cape Motorsports, your reigning USF 2000 champion with the Mazda Scholarship, having his best run of the year thus far.
David Malukas, Carlos Cunha, the reason for this late caution, timed race, and with both of those cars, we're not sure where Cunha is, but we know that Cunha is in the tire barrier, not sure where Malukas is.
Well, here's this. One more lap around, and Parker Thompson is going to go up 2 spots.
Yep.
He's now on the same lap, 2 laps down with David Malukas and Carlos Cunha. This incident late in the race, and this is why you go back out of the racetrack when you can. Parker Thompson is going to leapfrog up into the 8th position now. He's still a lap behind Charles Finelli.
There goes the AMR safety vehicle. So we have a little bit of a replay here. It was a very quick incident, and we had it from the camera shooting back. There you see Cunha go into the wall and the tire barriers.
Yeah, that's not enough. We were hoping to get the replay of them coming down. The shot with the camera from the outside of turn number 3 gave us a good look when you and I saw it. But indeed, it was a complete left side impact for Carlos Cunha. Hard enough, of course, now that we know.
There you go. Here we go.
This is it.
This
is it. So Carlos Cunha comes in. He's wide. He hits that the concrete, and he's gone. Look at Malukas.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to.
I bet you something
further up the racetrack.
He might have had issue with Cunha, and let's run this by. He and Cunha made contact back in turn number 2 because Malukas fell way back.
Agreed.
Cunha gets around. He goes into the turn, can't make that turn, and Malukas is done as well. Maybe a suspension piece broke on that car.
So essentially, yeah, if we go forward and say that there's a potential contact between those 2 drivers and 2, by the time they get down to 3, whatever it was with that suspension that wasn't working, whether it was the toe in that was pushed out, whatever it may have been, we see that Malukas can't even turn, can't get going. He goes into the runoff, and he's probably done. And then we see Carlos Cunha not able to make the corner. But, man, he was carrying a lot of speed trying to get to the outside of McGuinness. And we've talked about it all weekend. You get onto that concrete, and there's just no grip there. Car can start pushing away. I think we're going back to green, folks. We have 1.5 minutes remaining. I think we're going to get 2 laps here.
2 laps.
A 2-lap dash. Here they come. Green-white checker. Underway now again. Rinus VK, your leader. Oliver Askew second. 3rd is McGuinness. 4th, Listoshkin. 5th is Robb. 6th is Chris Wright. 7th is Finelli. 8th is Parker Thompson. Thompson 2 laps down from the lead group. He's just hanging around here now, hoping somebody else gets involved in this particular incident. But here we come. down the straightaway. Does Oliver Askew have anything for Rinus VeeKay? He's with them by a couple of lengths, so he's not letting them pull away at all. Could be a battle still for third spot between McGuinness and Listoshkin.
Nikita Listoshkin has tried to make a move on the inside of Robert McGuinness, and they are nose to tail. So that battle for third, the one really shaping up, the front end of Listoshkin's car wiggles ever so slightly at the exit of turn number 5. Field now through turn number 7. Rinus VeeKay, 3 car lengths back, Oliver Askew. Then that battle with McGuinness and Listoshkin.
Heading into turn number 8, they'll see the white flag, we believe, this time by 35 seconds remaining. So I would expect the white flag will fly. And look at this, Oliver Askew all over the gearbox of Rinus VeeKay.
He's there.
We got a battle for the lead. Oliver Askew needs to get a good run down the straightaway. Stay in the slipstream. White flag will fly here at start-finish. Paul Blevins giving it the white. Rinus VeeKay tried to put in a magic lap here to hold off Oliver Askew. Robert McGuinness doing a good job to grab third, but it'll be this run down the straightaway. Michael, we'll see if Oliver Askew can take a bid for the race win.
VeeKay a 2-car length, now 3-car length advantage over Oliver Askew. A great drive for Askew. He started 6th in this race, now trying to go for the win.
A
little bit of lockup for Rinus VeeKay. Now down to 1 car length as they work their way through turn 5.
Oliver Askew closes right up. A lockup in the turn number 3 for VeeKay. Here comes Oliver Askew. Can he get a good run? Better run through turn number 6. It's the last passing opportunity. Deep on the brakes into the bumpy turn number 8. Here comes Askew. He's right there. VeeKay going to defend to the inside. You can be no doubt about that. He's clean through turn 8. Final run. Not a way to pass coming through here. Askew will look for it, but it'll be back-to-back jacks here, ladies and gentlemen, in Toronto. The Dutch star Rinus VeeKay out of the final corner, and he holds off Askew. Rinus VeeKay for Juncos Racing, the winner on the streets of Toronto. Back-to-back race wins for Rinus VeeKay, as he will take 2 victories to add the points and to close the lead in the title battle significantly over Parker Thompson. Thompson gaining 2 spots on the final circuit, brings the car home clean in one piece after yesterday's expensive wreck for Parker Thompson. An 8th, not the worst thing in the world. He'll drop another 17 points. But all total, Michael, Parker Thompson drops 34 points this weekend to Rinus VeeKay. The championship is on in Pro Mazda.
What in the world did we just see?
I don't know.
What a wild race weekend. Not only in the USF 2000 races, but this has been one of the most thrilling, wild, crazy, outlandish weekends I've seen in Pro Mazda, maybe ever.
There's so much talent in this field. We got the battle there. Robert McGuinness was obviously holding everybody up in third. Carlos Cunha, David Malukas trying to show the patience, the poise to be able to make that pass. Remember, they had to sit down with the race director when we got here on Thursday because it's been a little crazy in Pro Mazda over the last couple races. Same with USF 2000. The race director sitting them down, Tony Kottman, saying, guys, you've got to learn some respect out there. It didn't translate into good racing yesterday. It was even worse, but I think they probably got even sterner talking to, of course, David Malukas in the penalty box, as I said before, getting some penalty points yesterday. Tough one for David because he ran very strongly that entire race.
Well, our thanks to Rob Howden. A great job as always. His day will continue. We've got the warm-up session for the Verizon IndyCar Series coming up, as well as the Indy Lights second race of the weekend.
Rinus VeeKay, normally Toronto can be a wild card for most drivers, but for you, it was all about consistency. 2 wins. Congratulations. How hard was it to double up here in Canada?
It was pretty hard. We had a late race caution, which made it quite interesting for the end. And Oliver was really quick, so yeah, he put some pressure on me, but it's amazing to win on this circuit with the Canadian fans, and yeah, they're amazing. And I really want to thank the team for the great car, because with them I wouldn't be standing here. And I want to thank Mazda, Cooper Tires, and Allied Building Products for the help.
Rinus VeeKay, your winner twice here in Toronto. Congratulations.
Thank you.